In Chinese mythology, the origins of humanity begin not with kings or armies, but with spirits. Nuwa and Fuxi, often depicted as half-human and half-dragon, were said to have shaped the first people out of clay. These new humans settled along the fertile banks of the Yellow River, where civilization would take root. Ancient tales also tell of the 5 good emperors, wise and benevolent rulers who guided their people with peace rather than conquest. But the river that gave life could also bring destruction. When it flooded, it threatened to erase entire communities. Out of this chaos emerged a hero named Yu. He devoted 13 years of his life to taming the waters, carving canals and channels to guide the floods safely to the sea. His success elevated him to the throne, and he founded the Xia dynasty, remembered as China's first ruling family. Though the Xia remain more legend than fact, their story prepared the way for what came next. The Shang dynasty, China's first historically confirmed kingdom, left behind remarkable evidence of their existence: oracle bones, bronze vessels, and some of the earliest forms of Chinese writing. These inscriptions give us a glimpse of their rituals, their kings, and their worldview. The Shang were followed by the Zhou, who ruled longer than any dynasty in Chinese history. The Zhou introduced the concept of the mandate of heaven, the belief that rulers governed with divine approval, but could lose that right if they became corrupt or unjust. It was a powerful idea, one that would shape Chinese politics for centuries. Yet over time, Zhou authority weakened. Local lords entrusted with land and armies grew independent and powerful. Their loyalty to the Zhou court faded, and China fractured into competing states. This fragmentation ushered in centuries of warfare. First came the spring and autumn period, then the warring states period, when rival kingdoms fought endlessly for supremacy. Out of this bloodshed emerged new philosophies: Confucianism, Taoism, and legalism, all offering different answers to the same question: how should people live and how should rulers govern? At last, in 221 BC, one state rose above all others. The Qin, under the leadership of Qin Shi Huang, defeated their rivals and unified China. He became the first emperor, and though his reign was brief, it left a lasting mark. The Qin standardized weights, measures, currency, and even the writing system. They built vast roads to connect the empire and began construction of walls to defend against nomadic raiders from the north, the first version of what would become the Great Wall of China. But Qin rule was harsh. Heavy taxes, forced labor, and strict laws bred resentment. After the emperor's death, the dynasty collapsed within just a few years. From this turmoil rose the Han dynasty, one of the most celebrated in Chinese history. The Han built upon the Qin's foundations, but ruled with a more balanced hand. Their era became a golden age. Science and technology flourished. Paper was invented, astronomy advanced, and medicine improved. Chinese culture spread widely, influencing everything from art and literature to governance and philosophy. Trade expanded along the Silk Road, connecting China to India, Persia, and even Rome. Buddhism, carried by merchants and monks, began to take root. The Han's influence was so enduring that even today, the majority of Chinese people identify as Han. But no golden age lasts forever. Over time, corruption, rebellions, and invasions weakened the dynasty, and China fell once again into division. The centuries that followed saw cycles of unity and disunity. The Tang dynasty brought another golden age, expanding China's influence across Central and East Asia. Poetry, painting, and music thrived, while trade and diplomacy reached new heights. The Song dynasty followed, fostering remarkable innovations: gunpowder, movable type printing, and advances in navigation. Yet even as culture and technology flourished, threats loomed from the north. In the 13th century, the Mongols swept across Asia under Genghis Khan. His grandson, Kublai Khan, conquered China and declared the Yuan dynasty. Under Mongol rule, East met West in new ways as ideas, goods, and technologies crossed vast distances. But the Yuan never fully secured the loyalty of the Chinese people. In time, rebellion spread, and the Ming dynasty rose in victory. The Ming are remembered for their strength and grandeur. They rebuilt and extended the Great Wall, launched immense naval expeditions under Admiral Zheng He, and created art and architecture that still define Chinese culture today. But the Ming eventually declined, weakened by corruption, rebellion, and foreign pressure. They were succeeded by the Qing, China's last imperial dynasty. Founded by the Manchu people of the north, the Qing expanded China's territory to its greatest extent. For centuries they presided over a vast and diverse empire. Yet they too faced challenges. Foreign powers began demanding trade and territory. Britain's smuggling of opium into China sparked devastating wars, which China lost. These defeats forced the Qing to sign unequal treaties, ceding land and opening ports to outsiders. The empire also suffered from internal uprisings such as the Taiping Rebellion, which cost millions of lives. This era of decline became known as the Century of Humiliation, a painful memory that still echoes in modern China. By 1912, the Qing dynasty collapsed, ending more than 2,000 years of imperial rule. China fractured once more as rival warlords carved the land into pieces. Reformers and revolutionaries sought to build a new China, but unity proved elusive. Two major forces rose: the nationalists led by Chiang Kai-shek and the communists led by Mao Zedong. Their conflict was fierce, but it was interrupted in the 1930s when Japan invaded. The invasion was brutal beyond measure. Cities fell, millions died, and atrocities such as the Nanjing massacre scarred the nation deeply. After World War II ended, the Civil War resumed. The Communists, strengthened by their resistance to Japan and support from the Soviet Union, gained the upper hand. In 1949, Mao declared the founding of the People's Republic of China. The defeated nationalists fled to Taiwan, where they established their own government, a division that continues to this day. Mao's rule transformed the nation but at a terrible cost. The Great Leap Forward, an ambitious attempt to industrialize quickly, led to famine and the deaths of millions. The Cultural Revolution sought to destroy old traditions, but instead unleashed chaos, purges, and suffering. Yet even amid these upheavals, China began to change. After Mao's death in 1976, new leaders steered the country toward economic reform. They opened China to foreign trade and investment, creating a system that combined socialist planning with capitalist markets. The results were staggering. In just a few decades, China's economy grew at a pace the world had never seen. It became a manufacturing giant, producing everything from cheap goods to advanced technology. Hundreds of millions of people were lifted out of poverty, and China took its place as a global power. But this rise came with challenges. While the economy liberalized, the government maintained strict political control. Protests for democracy, most famously at Tiananmen Square in 1989, were crushed. Even today, China balances modernization and openness with censorship, control, and a cautious foreign policy. And so, after thousands of years, the story of China continues. From mythical origins along the Yellow River to mighty dynasties, from Mongol conquest to modern revolution, from humiliation under foreign powers to rapid industrial growth, China has endured. Its past is filled with cycles of unity and collapse, brilliance and suffering, tradition and transformation. Today it stands as one of the most influential nations on earth, carrying with it the weight of its long history and the promise of its future.